frostykyogre here with Mark's Tech Forecast. So today I'm joined by Cory, and on the camera, who might pop in every once in a while, we got Thomas.
Hello.
So first thing we have to talk about is televisions. Televisions are absolutely huge this year because of recent increases in the amount of pixels they can cram into a smaller area, kind of like Retina with Apple. We were tons of changes in televisions. So
okay, so the big one this year is 4K. Now we've seen 4K before, but now we can actually buy it, right? So that means we're going to get 4K coming down the pipeline. This year, it's going to be like $20,000 for a TV. But do not buy this year. Wait for them to go down, right? 4K is exactly 4 times 1080 in the amount of pixels, which it means it's just 1080p times 4. So that you're going to have one screen doubled, and so your area increases by 4. And then we also have seen some 8K televisions. Now, both 4K and 8K are under the specification of UHD, so Ultra HD. So lots of people like to call it that, but I think that specifying the 4K or 8K is the better way to go. But mass marketing always goes with the simplest one. That
if they can give it a good name, then it's good, right?
But and then we've also was it just 8K that was on that Samsung one? Samsung has a really high resolution TV. It's not going to be for sale. They're just showing what they can do with the technology we currently have and what's going to be coming. Samsung's also been displaying flexible OLEDs. We have seen some of these before, but now we're seeing them actually applied. Like we saw in the keynote of, I think it was Windows.
Yeah.
That we saw some flexible phones. Basically, there was a phone at the bottom with all your processor and all the battery and stuff, and then just a flexible display that popped up out of it.
What's going to be really interesting to see is because up until now I've seen all the curved displays, and multi-monitor doesn't really interest me for gaming due to all the bezels. So if they can come up with a curved display that's not either ridiculously priced or rear projection, I might actually buy one. So that means that maybe we'll finally have curved displays. OLED.
Well, we're starting to see more OLED screens on the market. LG had one for, it's also 20,000, I think. You're not going to buy it this year unless you are made of money and you have nothing better to do with it. But this means we're going to get thinner, lower wattage TVs that are going to be higher contrast ratio and have the ability... and the contrast ratio comes from the fact that LCDs are always backlit. You have to have some other light source behind that liquid crystal display, which creates your colors.
Which is either LED or fluorescent or cold cathodes.
Yeah, cold cathodes. And then, whereas OLED is like an actual LED that is micro-sized. It has one for RGB, right? All in each pixel, so each of your subpixels, and they light up themselves. So your blacks are going to be really black because nothing is on behind it.
My dad actually bought one of the first LED TVs that came out. It's a Samsung. It kind of has a red border around it. Anyways, he paid like a ridiculous amount, like $8,000. But I remember seeing that TV for the first time, and the blacks were just unreal. Like they were really black. So that's something to look forward to. Yep.
Okay, so we should go on to the
laser short throw projectors.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was by. I'd like to think it was LG, but what we're seeing...
Thomas will put it up here somewhere.
Yeah.
Over what it is.
Okay, so basically, with a projector, the shortest throw we've had up to date is like 6 feet, and you can produce a 100-inch screen from that. But this laser short throw projector is, instead of using a laser bulb, or just a really powerful bulb that goes through like a screen and projects it, it's an actual laser that is drawing each pixel, I believe. Now, I'm not certain if it has to be on the special screen used by the laser, but the projector, I believe, was only 50 centimeters away from the screen it was showing, and no distortion at all.
I think I overheard that it was 2 feet.
2 feet?
That's what they're pumping, 2 feet.
Okay.
So Also, along with 4K televisions, we're getting a lot larger televisions, like 800 or like 80 inch
85s,
TVs,
100. We've
85s.
seen there's a couple 100s. Over
I think who was it that had the one that it's almost like a chalkboard with the wheels on it. So it has like its stand is like almost like one of those chalkboard stands that you can wheel around.
Yeah. And we're only seeing them getting thinner and thinner, especially with OLED. We can get down to like 3 credit cards in size, but that's on a small one. Obviously, you need a little bit more structural support for the larger ones.
Yeah. All right. 21 by 9 aspect ratio.
Now this was good. This would be good for productivity, or maybe if you just want to get a slightly wider angle for your gaming. Basically, it just gives you a more pleasing amount of workspace when you have 2 applications open on your screen at once.
Actually, there's another reason behind it is televisions. If there's a 21 by 9 television, and you have like a widescreen movie. If you've ever noticed you're watching a widescreen movie on your widescreen TV, and there's still the black bars on the bottom, why does that need to be there? So these 21 by 9 aspect ratio TVs will be able to show just the content without the black bars.
That would be nice.
Now on the monitor side with the 21 by 9, we have seen basically you could put 2 inputs to the one monitor, and it would split itself up so that one half would be whatever input A is, and then the other half input B. So you could have your computer and your console, or your computer and your laptop, or whatever you want, right? Running on one screen.
Also, the other thing I wanted to mention, I just added this note just now. Smart TVs, what do you think of those?
Pointless, because like it's basically just a normal TV, and then they've added in the ability to have an Android.
I agree, it's completely stupid. If you're going to do that, there's all sorts of little boxes you're starting to be able to buy that have Android on them, and also just media PCs.
Yeah.
Like most of the real techie guys will end up having media PCs hooked to their televisions all the time, anyways.
And if all you want is just Netflix, I think the cheapest like LED tack-on box is like starting around $25 or $40, something like that. So it's like very little cost to get the functionality.
Here's another topic I just added that's kind of segues out of that and more into is Steam. What Steam's been doing.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't know about there's been rumors about Steam making their own platform. Now we've kind of been
Start with big picture.
Okay, so first we have big picture. This one's the most obvious thing, right?
You can do it right now. Go to your Steam if you have it and click big picture.
Basically, it's a controller optimized UI for Steam. It has a very intuitive typing option where each letter is assigned to there's a group of 4 keys for every toggle stick. So like move your toggle stick up and you'll get
Thomas
A, B,
will
C,
put
D.
a picture right here.
Right? And move your toggle stick to the, northwest position or northeast position, and you get like E, F, G, H, right?
I think they call it flower or something.
Yeah,
like that.
flower. It's really intuitive and much better than like having to hunt through a whole QWERTY keyboard with just a control stick. Whereas now you can just up one movement and then one of your A, B, X, Y, or whatever your controller has on it. Now that's big picture mode. But we've also seen Steam, and Gabe also stand up for Linux. By adding Linux support, and also Gabe has said that he would like to move maybe to Linux because he's very unhappy. Sorry guys, battery died. So, anyway, Gabe is really unhappy with the way Windows 8 has turned out and the support for programs, especially in RT version. Ugh. But, anyway, so we've been hearing rumors of them making their own console from the fact that, okay, they're looking into different operating systems for their own operating system to run on a console, and they have, obviously, the TV optimized layout / controller optimized layout. And now, through a small company called XI3, they make really tiny computers. They're actually a pretty new startup. They've been at the last couple CESs.
I think they got their start on Kickstarter, actually.
And basically they produce a PC that's like this big and then like a depth of 6-7 inches.
Look it up. It'll be up here.
They are pretty sweet, but yeah, and they have officially announced, and they're allowed to announce like official everything, but that they are working in conjunction with Valve
to bring something.
It's called Project Piston, and we're pretty sure we know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our next thing we're going to talk about is Intel processors. I know they haven't said much this CES, but we're going to talk about it anyways. So
yeah,
Hasswell.
So Hasswell's on the way. Basically, this is a tick, I believe. I can't remember which one's which, but anyway, this is not a die shrink. This is a complete architecture change. We are going to have a new pinout. It's going to be the 2050. Is it? I think it's
no.
No.
It's
1150.
1150.
Sorry.
1150 LGA socket.
Mm-hmm. And basically, it's just going to be a refresh of the architecture. We're going to see faster speeds, lower wattages.
So wait, it goes 1155, or 1155, 1156, back to 1155.
No.
2011, and now back, and then 1150.
2011.
2011 is a separate architecture in the way that it's designed for enthusiasts and not kind of like 1366 was designed for enthusiasts.
So speaking of 2011, we are also going to be seeing this year the Ivy Bridge E, so an update for the Sandy Bridge E's. And basically that's just going to mean really, really boss processors. Hopefully we see an 8-core.
Expensive processor.
They promised an 8-core consumer level, or enthusiast level, X edition for the last one, so Sandy Bridge E, but they never brought it out, which is kind of an unfortunate, because they have it on the Xenon side, and all they had to do was just make sure it was optimized for overclocking. That's it.
This year we're also going to see a lot of drops in wattage on especially on processors for Ultrabooks, and they've released some specs for Hasswell. I think the lowest processor they had on it, was it 16 watts? It was something ridiculously low.
Or
It's
13
really
maybe.
low. Anyways, and that's desktop too. So we're going to get some really, really powerful low wattage processors. So that'll mean a lot more portable devices and a lot more powerful portable
It's
devices.
also going to be good for the retail sectors that use the small PCs for their checkouts, because it's just going to reduce their overall power bill, and this is going to be good for everyone.
Okay. Also that also means we'll be able to get, not only seeing as we're dropping the wattage, we'll be able to fit more in at a low wattage. So that means they might still have another few watts to go, so they can improve some other things too, and that'll bring up the wattage. So, what about the standards for Ultrabooks?
Okay, so standards for Ultrabooks has changed. Intel has made it
Mandatory.
to have a touchscreen on an Ultrabook. Otherwise, you will not get certification.
That is, I'd say, a good thing, especially with Windows 8 and how it is.
Yeah.
Because right now, with current gen Ultrabooks, we are seeing, okay, one has touch, one doesn't, one has touch, one doesn't, right? More don't have it than they do, and it's just confusing for the layman consumer. And this
Especially
is just
ordering a line.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to come with it. I mean, so
Because some sites can label wrong and different details and different websites.
some sites don't even have details on products; they just sell them.
Yeah.
And so
even different SKUs of products.
Yeah.
We've also seen a new kind of style. It's basically a ASUS transformer, but the Windows 8 machine version, and that was Intel's spec design for Ultrabooks, and it's basically called a rip and flip, where you can either rip it off and it becomes a tablet touchscreen, or you can flip it closed like a laptop, and when you have it docked to that keyboard, you get the keyboard, normally extra battery, and maybe extra storage, or or also extra connectivity, right?
Did you see that little commercial where he was on the plane with the kid and he did that magic swipe thing, pretended it was magic?
Yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, that
We
was
saw
cute.
that just today at the movies.
Yeah, that was at the movies today. We saw Gangster Squad. So yeah. What else? So I guess we can move on now to Keynote Sillyness. That's what we're titling this section. We're going to put a link to the video right here with an annotation so you can see what went on.
What are they called? V4? No, whatever they call it. The Verge. There we go.
Yeah.
And they basically kind of edited the Qualcomm keynote. And if you've not seen it, you have to watch it, because Qualcomm is just going nuts. They're like, the start of it is just like a total drama, and they keep bringing up what they are terming Generation M, which means we're the mobile generation. We love our mobile phones. This doesn't have a Qualcomm. Ha ha ha. Take that, Qualcomm. And yeah.
ARM's where it's at, right?
Well, they are ARM. It's just ARM architecture, just not ARM branded.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You gotta watch that video.
And it's such a bad. no bad keynote would be complete without Ballmer. They actually invited Ballmer to come in and be part of it.
The video is like if you talk to your like parents and ask them to be cool on video, that's what it would be like. They're trying to be like your parents, you know?
Now, for those of you who are not aware of who Ballmer is, we're talking about Steve Ballmer. He is, is he CEO of, he's a CEO of Microsoft, right?
ACO?
A CEO.
Oh, ACO. That's
Yeah,
like
'cause
ACO.
Bill Gates was one now. I think he's reduced his own status. But
It's just an advisor now.
Yeah, Ballmer is the top dog currently, and he is notorious for being really weird in keynotes. Like the one where he is sweating very profusely, and then he's just shouting, "Developers, developers, 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 developers," because
We could probably get a GIF of that maybe.
he's trying to like explain. He was trying to explain how Windows is going to progress through having developers, and I think that's basically when they're pushing like third party, like who we see making laptops, right?
Anyways, if you haven't seen that video, link right here. Watch it. It's hilarious. Okay.
Poor Thomas, he has a lot of editing to do.
Yeah.
I don't mind doing
Razer, as you can tell, we like Razer around here.
Yes.
We don't, you know, I wouldn't say we're fanboys, but we definitely appreciate.
I don't want to be a fanboy,
But their products are good.
their products just look so good and work so well. Now, I know they're a little bit, full of themselves, and they are definitely a premium. You're paying for the name,
Yeah.
but they have some cool stuff.
I mean, this year alone, I probably bought about 3 Razer products. I bought Tytan, Goliathus mousepad, and a Black Widow Ultimate 2013. So,
Myself, I got the Team at 7.1s on the second pre-order.
So we like our Razer. So we're going to talk about some of the new Razer products coming out. For the console gamers, we have the Sabertooth controller for the Xbox 360.
Well, don't put it that way. It's also Windows.
Yeah.
But then again, it's only console. Guys that used to be on console or play console mostly, they're going to use it. Well, he's moved over now.
Yeah.
He was
Halfway. He still uses his controller.
Yeah.
Here.
That's what I mentioned for you.
But there are games that play better with a controller and are meant to be with a controller.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to the controller. It's called the Sabertooth. I think Cory did say that. But anyway, it has 6 extra buttons. So the Onza had 2 bumpers.
They've moved the bumpers.
Yeah, they moved the bumpers down and in a little bit.
What?
So there's the normal bumpers right where they should be. But there's an extra little mini set, kind of like your Z button on the GameCube controller. And then we also, on the bottom, where you would access it with either your middle finger or ring finger, depending on what you prefer, is 2 toggles.
On each side.
Kind of like triggers, but they can go back up,
almost
up,
like
or
rocker
down.
switches.
Or no, like the controls you see for some RC cars, like the little toggle for reverse or forward.
They
and then
kind of
the
rock
steering
back
wheel.
and forth.
Yeah, and so you get a total of 6 new buttons. The ones on the bottom you can take off and just put a cover on there if you want to. And then the controller, you can save like 3 different profiles or so.
Yeah.
And you can configure these profiles using the built-in miniature OLED screen on the bottom.
Yeah, they have a little screen. It'll basically guide you through all the processes, so you don't have to actually know every little piece on how to work the controller.
It's quite small. It's down at the bottom.
Is it OLED?
Yep, OLED.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
But
It's not a color screen. It's only green.
Yeah, it's only
But
green.
still, that's...
Yeah.
And then included accessories are like their little silicone caps for the thumbsticks to make them a little bit more comfortable. I hope they come out with a more advanced version of the Sabertooth, just like they did with Onza, where you have like tunable control sticks, because I know my brother really loves the tunable toggles, and the Sabertooth currently does not have those.
Oh, yeah.
They also beefed up the cable, and it is detachable, but it's a really beefy detachable. Like you have to unscrew it and then
You
pull
can't
it out.
break it.
Yeah.
It's okay. The OrbWeaver to replace. Is it replacing the?
I don't think it
Nostromos?
replaces it. Just kind of
They don't have the Nostromos on their website anymore,
Oh, okay,
so
that
I'm
does
thinking
replace
they're
it.
replacing it. The only thing it doesn't have the Nostromos had was the scroll wheel.
Yeah, scroll.
But whatever, right? So, do you want to
So-
talk about that, or do you want me to talk about it?
You if you know enough about it.
Does it have 16 keys?
I think it's 20.
Okay, well, it has. I'll look it up right now. You start talking about it.
Okay, so I'll talk about it. It is green backlit. We have full mechanical switches,
Cherry MX Blues.
and it has a toggle stick, 8-way mechanical. So each of the 8 ways is full mechanical. There's no crappy you're pressing both up and left, so therefore we call that.
Okay, I got it. Okay. It has 20 keys. along with a shift key above the D-pad, and it's completely adjustable for your hand. So it can rock back and forth like this on the front pad, and it can move back and forth just like the Ouroboros. So if you have an Ouroboros, this and you really kind of like the keypads, you'll really like this.
Basically, it's for those guys that really like to have something separate from the keyboard that's a little bit more ergonomic, just for games.
I'm not really into this kind of thing, but I have a friend who's been talking about how they need to update the Nostromos, and he got really excited when I told him about this. So he loves it. He plays like Dota 2 and stuff like that. So, what else do we have from Razer? We have one more thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, this is the big one.
Okay, so
everyone's excited.
Remember last year when Razer won almost everybody's award? Like almost everyone gave them at least one award for what was called Project Fiona. Now, what we have this year is the fruition of that, and basically it's a little bit more updated. They went to the community, asked what the community wanted to see out of it. And one of the biggest things I saw, personally, being part of the community and posting what I wanted to see, was that people really wanted to see the controller detachable. So if you guys are totally lost and don't know what I'm talking about, the Razer Fiona was a tablet.
The camera's still running. Okay.
The Razer Fiona was a tablet that, okay, sure, it's a tablet, you can play games on it, but it had controllers on the sides, so like full controller setup, and then it had a full i5 in there, or i7.
Yeah. So what you're going to see out of this is some of the cool things about it is it's running a Nvidia GTX 640M processor. Oh, not processor, video chip, a GPU. And that'll mean you can play games like they had Dishonored and Dirt Showdown running on it. And seeing as the resolution's nothing crazy, I think it's just a 13 something or other by
1366 by 768.
Yeah, that really weird resolution. My old laptop used that one. Yeah, so that's what it's running for its stock resolution. So
now you can upgrade it. The base model comes with the i5, and then the next model up comes with the i7, and then the next model above that has like a bigger SSD than the one
64 or 128?
No, 128. It goes from like a 128 to a 256, I think. On the top model. Now, unfortunately, they upgraded the processor, which is not really what you need for gaming. For gaming, it would have made more sense to have the video card upgraded instead.
Yeah.
There are some games that do use that.
There may have been some wattage issues with that, or not. I don't know. And okay, so normally it's just a regular
the thing weighs
full
2 pounds
Windows
already,
8,
so.
yeah, full Windows 8 tablet. And then when you want to game, these are all accessories though. Now you can either have the controller dock, which you can carry around. Now it's more meant to be like played on your lap. I couldn't imagine someone holding it straight out and playing it all the time.
Your arms would get sore.
Yeah. And then so you got that dock. Then there's a keyboard dock, which it folds up onto. It folds up onto itself, and then you have like a keyboard if you need it to slide out. And then lastly, there's the media dock, where it sits in it, and then it has more USB 3.0 ports. Yeah, it actually has a USB 3.0 port coming out of a tablet.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. And then, yeah, so it expands the amount of connections you can have. I think it has one HDMI by default, but then like the dock will allow it to have two.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
And so that's really good. So we got USB 3 and HDMI. We are pretty much set for.
And then we have just a basic keyboard adapter, so we can have like a keyboard and use it like a laptop on the go type thing.
Well, I covered that one, I think.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Then I guess we're done with that.
The console with two controllers, like the console dock.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The console dock has two controllers, doesn't it?
Yeah. You can.
We can plug
Well,
in.
I said that it expands the amount of USB.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the idea is you'd plug in a Sabertooth.
Or whatever you want.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. ASUS.
Okay.
We're big ASUS fans here too.
Do you want to take this? I've been talking a lot.
Okay, I'll take the Ares 2. The Ares 2 is a video card from ASUS that is a dual GPU video card, and it's running two 7970 GPUs.
Not just normal, but superclocked editions.
Superclocked editions, they're above a gigahertz. They're crazy. Anyways, and how it's managing to do this without all the heat is with it's a water enclosed system, almost like you'd see on like an H100. So you have the video card that fits in. Still take up 2 or 3 slots.
2. Normally, we used to see all their high-end ones that take up 3 slots, but they've reduced it to 2 by having the water cooling,
cooler, yeah.
and then they just have a chipset fan, which gets it really cool.
So now we have water cooling, and you kind of mount the radiator like you would an H100, or it's only a 120 radiator, right? So
now keep in mind, guys, this card is worth $1,500, and they're only making 1,000 of them. It's a very, very limited run.
Every single one of them is laser and etched with their number.
And personally, I wouldn't get one because it's very expensive. But for me, I want to run a blue case, and I don't want with all the red highlights. Just mess with my color scheme, you know. And then the water block's totally different from all the other water blocks I have.
All right, so let's talk about the RAIDR, because I know nothing about that.
Oh, the RAIDR. That is.
You can take this entire section, by the way.
Okay, so the RAIDR is ASUS's foray into the PCI SSD. We don't know a whole lot about it. I can't remember all the details, but basically, we're seeing.
I thought it was a RAID card.
No, it is onboard RAID.
Oh, okay.
So the card itself is running RAID internally, and it has like a full what are they called? The covers.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm just talking about the shield, the electromagnetic shield, whatever. Anyway, it has a full cover shield, kind of like on the Phoebus. It has some fancy, a nice light, and then it just runs. I think it has dual 128s, like at the lowest, and then it goes up to like maybe dual 480 gigabyte SSDs. And we're just gonna see blazing fast speeds through the 4.0 PCIe, and it's just gonna be sweet. And it's gonna look nicer and be more compatible than the current stuff we see on the market, and cheaper too. Like the Revo drive from OCZ is like $5,000 for like the top end one.
Yeah.
And like if ASUS is going with just like plain SSD components, we should see this at like the low end, probably only $500.
Okay, Ultrabooks, Voodoo Android, and all-in-one Windows.
Voodoo Android?
Okay, so Ultrabooks, we're just seeing a lot of cool Ultrabooks from ASUS. They've really like taken to heart the Intel spec, and they have a couple rip and flips. They have an update for the Tai Chi with there's a new one with more processing power, and then another one with a bigger screen. So we got like a 10-inch normal Tai Chi and then a 13-inch, I think is the bigger size.
Yeah.
And then we got a really cool thing from ASUS. This is like the weirdest thing ever. Okay, so it's an all-in-one PC with a really thin screen. But then, so it's running normal Windows and you're typing along. But then, say you wanted to go to your dining room and your computer's in your living room, but you want to take it with you while you make supper. Well, you just rip it off and you walk with it.
I haven't seen this.
Now, when you rip it off, you have to press a button, and that switches it into Android mode. So it's a Windows 8 PC.
Running Android?
Yeah, so it's a Windows 8 PC using...
I haven't heard about this. So
using the Android tablet as a monitor. And when you take it off, you can turn on the Android part, right? And have a full Android tablet. It's 21 inches. It's a giant tablet. It has a full kickstand and then like a handle that flip up from the back. And it's just immense. And they are also adding the capability over Wi-Fi to beam your Windows 8 screen. So that's currently not possible on it, but they will have that before it comes out.
All right.
It's pretty cool.
So we need to talk about this year ASUS is entering the PC market, and they're going to start selling computers.
Well, they do have a couple already.
Yeah.
But they're getting more serious.
And they have this one called the Tytan. The Titan.
It's spelled with a Y.
I was reading it the way it was spelled. Anyways.
It's spelled with a Y.
It's spelled with a Y, so... so it's... why don't you talk about that?
Basically, it's kind of... They have a kind of a fatter style case. Well, it's not extremely wide as cases go. It's just kind of like smush so it looks fat. And then when you press the overclock button to basically, turbo mode it, the side panels pop out and add extra fan functionality. And as well as another vent at the back pops up. Now, it looks very cool. But this is just kind of...
It doesn't have much functionality.
No. It adds some cooling, but you could have just had the fans around.
I wonder if you place it next to a desk, if it comes out, if it'll tip itself over. And it's like, I'm a turtle and I can't get up.
It'd be like one of those portal turrets if it was to open up beside a wall.
Yeah.
Shutting down.
Silverstone, again, something I don't know about. You can take a camera.
Okay, they have a lot of new cases in the pipeline, and one of the cool ones that's very, very beta stage right now is fully dustproof. It has a full car filter on the front and back. And so the back panel is recessed slightly so you can run your cables down and out, but just very, super dustproof and sealed everywhere else.
Oh, wow.
But they're just, it's Silverstone. They're just putting more cool cases out there. So they have some sweet cases.
Okay, Swiftech.
Okay, another thing Cory doesn't know about.
Swiftech
Swiftech is getting into the pre-filled closed water cooling system. So, we have the H100 and we have the new Kraken coming out, and we have a couple other people Cool It is what Corsair owns now, right?
Cooler Master does a couple now.
Yeah, okay. But we got all these. Well, Swiftech decided this isn't right. So they have a big beefy pump on it that they have tested, and it has a really high MFTB, whatever, 60,000 hours mean time between replacement. And basically, you can have just the CPU, or if you decide to expand, you can just open it up, drain the res, take it off, and just add more stuff to your loop. The block is fully capable of going through more than 3 radiators and 2 blocks, which is quite a bit of restriction. And you can expand it, and it's probably going to be pretty well priced. We're going to see it trying to compete with the H100i. It's going to be a little bit more expensive, I believe, because you're getting a little bit more of a beefier pump and just an overall better system. It cools, by default, better than the H100i and is quieter.
Alright, so we now have the Corsair 900D case, which is an upgrade from the 800D, which he is such a big fan of.
Yeah,
I love Corsair cases too. I just got a C70 and I'm quite happy with it. Right, so what did they change about it? They made it about 4 inches taller, you'd say?
I'd say 4 inches taller just because I know it's the same size internally at least, and then they've added a little bit more space to have full push-pull plus some extra room on the top, and then you can also mount radiators in the bottom sideways, so therefore they have to have added a little bit more room. Because you can get them sideways in the 800D, but only just. So you can put a full 480 on the bottom, 480 or what is it, 520? No, only 480 is on the bottom, I think. Or maybe you can put a 520.
We can link to some specs here.
Yeah, so you can do a full 480 on the bottom on one side, and then you have your PSU on the other side, so you can only fit either a 240 or a 280. Yeah. And then on the top, you can fit another full 480, and on the front, another full 360.
Christ.
So a lot of stuff.
It's a big case.
It's a giant case.
It has 3
I think it might be bigger than
three removable drive cages, and one comes with a hot swap, which you can actually move the hot swap back panel's location to any of the places where you can mount and drive. And it's just ginormous. It has only 4 drive slots, or like optical drive slots, or 5.25 inch bay, whatever you want. And they pop off, it's a cool facade that you pop it off and you put your drive in. And the whole front is a full 1 milled aluminum piece, or cast aluminum, whatever. And it's just really sexy looking. Like it has like the whole floating case in a case look. Kind of similar to their 600T, but a little bit more angular, less like rounded.
I just sold my 600T, so I didn't like it. All right.
And she's just a big case. Corsair George did a great job. If you don't know about Corsair George, he's the guy that's the head guy for Corsair on cases, and he's very involved with the community. You'll find him on forums everywhere.
If you actually go look, I'm gonna send Thomas a link to this so he can put it right here. And there's a link to, he recently did an AMA on Reddit, and he said some pretty funny stuff there, so I figured we'd better link it. We only have a couple more things to talk about. This one I'm not a phone guy, so I don't know, but they're coming out with Ubuntu phones that are running Ubuntu rather than Android. So
Thomas can talk about Ubuntu being...
Yeah, Thomas, come on here. Come sit.
No, I'm fine.
Come on.
I'm fine.
Okay, so...
The Ubuntu phones have actually been around for a while, but they've only done select phones. They've been testing it and getting it to work right.
Yeah, they have...
And one thing that I like about it is that you can plug it into an HDMI out, and even a USB on the go on the phone, like Mark's Note 2. eventually it'll be ported to.
I have USB OTG, but I haven't used it yet. So.
Yeah, I have a cable on order from China.
They're hard to find.
Yeah,
and
cheap though.
And so say he could hook it up to a desktop monitor, desktop keyboard, desktop mouse, use it as a full word suite and whatever else. Unplug it and it's his phone.
They'll probably end up being docks for that.
Probably. I know there's like docks for TV.
There was a Motorola one last year that had a dock to it, and I remember.
Yeah, Ubuntu showed that on one of their YouTube videos, and one of the neat things is to say instead of buying all these different computers for work, you just give the worker a cell phone. They dock it, do all their documents, they undock it, go home.
You can always lose a cell phone though, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
So what we've seen on the Ubuntu face though, besides all the functionality, is that they're trying to get developers to link with them and start making physical products. They've only had the software available for select phones, as Thomas said, and they've been showing it off on it's the Google test phone that is basically just like a really plain Nexus. And it's looking pretty good. It has a really interesting way of swiping in. There are no physical buttons on the phone. Very interesting. I prefer my physical buttons and like my capacitive touch, but they're going for a fully UI-based control system.
How do you turn it on?
Just touch the screen.
There'll be one button for
there has to be a power button.
Oh, I thought you meant turn it on from sleep.
No.
Okay, we only have 2 more things to talk about, and then we got to go here because we got to get to bed. So it's
Who needs sleep?
No one needs sleep. Okay, so we have Nvidia's press conference, first day. We have 2 kind of important things, kind of more important for cloud gaming, which is coming up. I know. We thought we heard the last of cloud gaming, but it's not dead yet. So we have Grid and Sheild. Do you want to talk about Sheild second, or?
I just want to do a little bit of introductory. So Nvidia really came in with guns firing. They on the first day, not even the first day, they did it the day before, Sunday, the day before the first press release day, which is Monday, and they released what is called Project Sheild, and basically it's a handheld.
It's
Nvidia.
If you look at pictures of it, it's almost like an Xbox controller, but it has the thumbsticks down here like a PS3 one. It's kind of chunky. I don't know how it feels yet, but it should be interesting.
They got to fit all the PCB in
and it has a screen that flips up, and
5-inch
screen, and it has a screen that flips up. And the idea with it is you can play normal Android games on it. It has a touch screen.
Very optimized for people who like controllers.
Or you can use like emulators and stuff like that. But who would ever use emulators? That's wrong. That's wrong. But the big thing about it is you're going to be able to sit in your house and have your computer on the same network, and you can load up all your Steam games and play them with Project Sheild, and they're rendering on the computer.
Keep in mind, though, you have to have a 650 or greater Nvidia card. Now, that doesn't mean like higher. It means just newer, beyond 650 and newer.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to have an Nvidia card. Apparently, they might start supporting some older cards from the last 2 generations.
Like
the 500 series and the 400 series.
I don't think I'm pretty sure we won't ever see support for AMD, but it's not out of the question.
Yeah.
So someone will mod it, like some software hack.
And the last thing we have to talk about is Grid, and Grid is a system Nvidia's designing. It's basically a server design where they can have 4 GPUs in it, I think, and 4 processors. And the idea behind it is they rent the. Now they're not going to use this technology, but they're going to sell it to other companies and rent it to other companies to use, where they'll be able to do cloud gaming, so you can have 16 people playing at once on one server. So the idea is it can run 16 games at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. So cloud gaming, it'll be much more efficient for the companies doing it, because right now it's not worth the money.
So now we won't just have the server system cloud, or the whole positioning of people and everything server based. We'll have the rendering and everything server based.
So
it should be interesting.
Everything's going to be So
I don't think you'll kill the gaming PC.
No.
You won't get. There'll be some latency.
Latency. Is there?
I don't know.
It's one of them.
All right,
I guess I said Tytan. Okay. Anyways, that's it for our CES
Recap
2013 recap. I am Cory DM676, so I'll have a channel link right here, hopefully. I'm on a couple other networks as Carnival of Fear, So I think that's I'm gonna switch my username too. So this is
My own
Mark
channel,
frostykyogre.
And then behind the camera we have Thomas, our handy dandy guy. He has his own channel, and I actually started YouTube because of him and the way and him doing videos with him.
And me forcing you to do videos.
It was fun though. Alright guys, have a good one. Hope there's lots of cool stuff coming for you.
It's been Mark's Tech Forecast. See ya.